Hey, what's up, JPEGs? I'm here to review Avatar: The Way of Water. There will be major spoilers, so if you haven't seen it already, you have been warned. So I've watched Avatar 2 twice. So the first time that I saw it in Ultra AVX 3D with a high frame rate. And the second time that I saw it in just regular 2D with a normal frame rate. And I will say that I actually greatly preferred the 2D experience over the 3D high frame rate experience. And there's two main reasons for that. So the first reason is that the film's over 3 hours long, and wearing those cheap plastic 3D glasses for over 3 hours starts to get a little uncomfortable. But the second reason was that I actually found that the high frame rate looked really bad at points. So there were a lot of points where the image kind of looked laggy or choppy, however you want to say it. And there's also points where I thought that it looked like the footage was actually like in fast forward or something. The movement looked very unnatural. When I went to go see the 2D, normal frame rate screening, I actually thought that the movie looked very smooth. I didn't notice any weird kind of like it was in fast forward or anything. It looked very normal and very smooth. So in terms of the visuals, I think a lot of reviewers that I've seen have already said, it's a beautiful movie. Pandora is this beautifully realized environment with all these beautiful colors and, these beautiful creatures and environments. And it's really just kind of breathtaking to see on a big screen like that. But there's also hints of like Malachian impressionism, as I like to call it. So kind of like there's like Terrence Malick visuals. So these kind of like contemplative, more like, experience-based, like dreamy, kind of like in somebody's head, kind of those like poetic visuals rather than kind of framing things in this concrete objective way. I'm kind of thinking of like a couple shots specifically, like when Kiri is in the water and she's watching like light reflect off the sand and the boys make fun of her. Or even the shot, I think there's a shot even in the trailers where the Tolkien and Jake's son are like touching like fin and arm, and it's kind of this shot from like under the water. But I think that Cameron knows exactly how and when to kind of add these moments, because it never takes away from what's going on before or after, and it never feels like it's just trying to be deep or something. Like he's always using it in moments where it's going to add this emotional depth to the character, which is why Malick does it the way that he does. I did like that the human environments and, even like their clothes and the buildings and the machines and everything, all have this like super sterile look to them. It's like this clean, lifeless, almost colorless look. It was the same in Avatar 1. But it's like everything's just part of like a science lab or like a military base or something. Like nothing has any personality of its own and nothing looks good to look good. Like it's all purely functional. And I think that's juxtaposed quite nicely by Pandora's alien beauty, which is, these rich, vibrant colors and these amazing environments. So I thought that juxtaposition was really cool. I remember like one of the characters early on, I think it was Frances, was that her name? The military lady. She mentions that they want to bring humans to Pandora because Earth is being destroyed, which is so funny because when they get there, they just engulf the forest in flames and all the wildlife has to like run for its life. And it's like, dude, you've literally been here for you're literally just getting here and you've already destroyed like an entire section of the planet. It's so crazy. James Cameron, just like this entire movie, anytime the sky people, as they call them, are in a scene or anything, they're just being totally destructive. It's like they're either destroying landscapes or killing wildlife or like burning people's houses down or some other destructive thing. But he's really just kind of showing like the bad things that humans are capable of. But I think that James Cameron is kind of portraying humans in this story as being so destructive because I think he sees the potential in people to do good. And I think that this movie is really kind of trying to highlight the importance of relationships and family on an interpersonal level and on a much larger scale, trying to promote this idea of we're on this earth and we're using its resources and we're interacting with the environment and the creatures. We should have respect for them and we should do better. Speaking of the relationships and stuff, when Jake at the end of the movie says to his younger son, "I see you," after he fights the colonel and his son helps save them basically. I almost cried. Like both times that I saw the movie, it was just such an emotional and beautiful moment where we get to see the connection between Jake and his son, because really, like, they lost so much. They had to leave their clan and go with a new clan, which they kind of brought destruction to inadvertently. And Jake lost his older son, and just a lot of shit happened. And it was just brutal. And so that kind of like I see you, son was really just this beautiful moment where we kind of just got this climax of everything that the Sully family had been through together. And they just get to share the love in that moment and the appreciation for each other, which I thought was amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of super serious stuff in this movie, a lot of serious themes, a lot of heartbreaking moments, a lot of emotional moments, brutal moments, but it's not all super serious. There's actually a lot of really good funny moments throughout. Like one of my favorite comedy moments was when Jake's kids fight the Metcaina kids, and later Jake's kind of getting them in trouble, being like, you know, like, what are you doing? Like, I told you not to get in a fight. I told you not to cause trouble. But like, I have one question. What do the other kids look like? And his kid's just like, worse than us. And Jake's just like, that's good. There's also a moment I remember like kind of early on where I think her name's Frances, the military lady. She's in like a skell suit. And in the skell suit, she's holding a cup of coffee, like with the robot hand. And she keeps sipping from it, like bringing it up to her face. And it's just like so absurd and ridiculous. Like I feel like James Cameron must be satirizing this like an over dependency on technology. Because it's like, why would you use a robot arm to hold this coffee cup? Like, why not just hold the coffee cup in your hand? Like, isn't there a cup holder in the skell suit? Like, maybe there's no cup holder. Maybe that's why she was doing it. I don't know. I will say actually that Kiri is not only my favorite character in the Avatar franchise, but I think she's like easily like top 5 James Cameron character for me. Like she might even be number 1. She's so adventurous and intelligent and funny and so curious in the world around her, and she just kind of soaks it all in. She really just like appreciates the beauty of like every inch of Pandora. And you can tell, even though she kind of has that like teenage attitude of like, oh, like roll my eyes at, you know, things that my parents make me do or whatever, I think she still has this attitude of just like, you can tell that she just loves her family to death, and she loves the people that she's around, and she loves Pandora and its creatures. And it's like such a beautiful thing to see. And I just love that character. I think Sigourney Weaver like knocked it out of the fucking park with that. Yeah, I think that Avatar 2 kind of plays out like a James Cameron's greatest hits. The Colonel returning kind of reminded me of like a Terminator, where he's this like seemingly unstoppable force that will stop at nothing to kill Jake Sully. The skell suits are basically like the exoskeletal suits from Aliens. The Sullys trying to escape the sinking ship was almost identical to the way that Rose and Jack tried to escape the ship in Titanic. But yeah, I think Avatar 2 is an amazing movie, and I think it's maybe James Cameron's best. It's up there with Titanic for me, which is my current favorite. But I think that Avatar 2 deserves a score of 9 out of 10, baby. If you haven't already, you can check out my Oppenheimer trailer reaction here, or you can click subscribe over here. Thanks for checking this out. See you later, JPEGs.